off. Last man standing up next. It is a crazy match with Kane and Chris Jericho. 2 stars. Meltzer would say the finish was pretty corny and nobody could take it seriously. The idea is they're going to brawl to the back. Jericho's going to shove a setup wall of 20 barrels that have been welded together, theoretically onto Kane, although with the nature of the way they fell, Kane was obviously protected. Kane never got up except a hand peeked through. For all we know, he's still under there. Listen, these crazy brawls all over the place, they're spectacles. But to the live crowd in the arena, they probably aren't loving this as much. They want to see them in front of you, not in the back. What did you think of these crazy brawls that take place backstage? We got all these fantastic stunts.
And look at, to me, the first that I can remember that we really did was Mick and Taker.
Yeah, SummerSlam 96.
Then we did the Backlot Brawl, which I really hated from this vantage point. It was WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I knew we were going to end the match in the ring. Same thing with Undertaker and Mick. But the most entertaining, part of that in the audience participation is so important in everything that we do, that you're doing things elsewhere without hearing any of that excitement, without hearing whether they're liking it or hating it or anything else. That in doses, I'm fine with it. But when it's 20 minutes backstage and you bought a ticket and you're watching a screen, I don't think that's as good.
It's not as good. Foley's interviewed here about the Hell in a Cell match, and Foley's saying that Vince McMahon may have been right about a lot of things in his career, but he's wrong about this because the people want to see the match. And Foley said that this match is all he thinks about, and he'll be really happy when it's over. There's even an appearance from Shawn Michaels on this show. He's at the WWF New York. Shawn is talking about the first Hell in a Cell match he was in and how he's worked with the other guys in this match, but he has no idea what's going to happen. And he says this match is tailor-made for The Undertaker, and they're showing highlights, of course, of King of the Ring 1998. The next match on the show is Edge and Christian regaining the tag straps in a 4-way over the Dudleys, Road Dogg, and K-Quick, and the champs. This was a real team. Bull Buchanan and the Good Father. Yeah, they were heels. I can't believe anybody.
RTC.
Ready to change the channel? RTCC? I don't know. Let's talk about Edge and Christian here. They've seemingly done it all a few years after this as tag teams, but they never really had, they were 2 guys put together, and we know their backstory, and they were once upon a time in the Brood and things like that. Was there ever a name considered like for them, like the Midnight Express or the Road Warriors, or, something like that? Was there something, or was it always just, hey, it's 2 individual names, just throw the ampersand in the middle and we're good to go?
Yeah, it worked, didn't it?
I just think, way back when we had the British Bulldogs, the Hart Foundation, Strike Force, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I get that, but you didn't bring in the Bulldogs separately.
Right.
So maybe that, I don't know, but to me it worked.
Oh, there's no doubt it worked. And maybe they're really one of the first tag teams I think of when I think of this guy and that guy. Everybody else had a team name. So maybe they're innovators in that regard, and I should just shake off my thinking.
Shake it off. What's that song? Come on. What's the song?
I think there is a Taylor Swift song like that.
That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Silva, do you know that one?
Yeah, Shake It Off. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, we did get a suggestion not long ago that he do a song, and I forget exactly whose it was. But Silva knows, and he's going to play shy, but we're going to put him on the spot at the end.
Okay, good.
So Chris Benoit won the Intercontinental title from Billy Gunn here in 10 minutes and 3 seconds. Meltzer would say Gunn stock really fell with this performance because if you can't have a good match with Benoit or Guerrero, well, Gunn didn't take any chops, probably because of his shoulder injury. The first half was pretty solid, although not a lot of heat. After what was supposed to be a tilt-a-whirl spot into a inside cradle, I believe, Gunn was blown and just dropped Benoit, who tried to flip himself around, and it was probably the worst-looking spot you'll ever see in a Benoit match. Benoit went right to the crossface for the submission, 2 stars. I feel bad for Billy because it does feel like a lot of stop and start. Benoit wins the IC title here. In hindsight, was Billy just better suited to be a tag guy? I mean, you said earlier.
I've always said that.
Yeah.
And in this particular situation, zero chemistry.
Yeah.
They had no chemistry at all. And look, Billy, would have asthma and come back and hit his inhaler before he went out. It was made for tag team wrestling. Some guys are just better at tag team wrestling. I think that Billy is great at tag team wrestling.
Next up, we've got Ivory retaining the women's title in a 3-way over Trish and Molly Holly. Unfortunately, it goes 2 minutes and 2 seconds. This is before we know women's wrestling is going to change. We had 3 very capable performers here. Molly Holly could wrestle. Trish Stratus could wrestle. Certainly Ivory could wrestle. I don't know. It's a shame. It is what it is. Finally, the Acolytes are going to be here. They're going to clean house and get rid of some of the riffraff. What did you think of women's wrestling in this era? Were we just not ready for the revolution?
Well, I think that what the hell's that noise? I think that the women's wrestling, we did have some really great talent, and the talent I don't think was spotlighted. I don't think that they're, especially early on before this, that the women were positioned in a place of, Sable was Sable, Sunny was Sunny, and they were put in roles that, look, Sunny wasn't a wrestler, Sable wasn't a wrestler.
Right.
But arguably 2 of the hottest acts on the show. So it was, I think it was, again, it just takes time. And you look back, and I always say, and I'll find it. Anybody finds it out there, please shoot me something. Let me know. I've always looked I love old time wrestling posters, and back in the day when they would hang placards and store windows, it would be, wrestling, and you'd have your main event. And if you had the women, it would be, plus women and midgets. And that was like the big draw because they were an attraction. It was almost as if they were treated. Now, I'm going back in the 50s and 60s here, folks. In the 70s, even a little bit, they were sideshow attractions. Hey, come watch women wrestle. It's like, in the Carney, come on in and watch, Medusa. She takes off all the veils. How many veils will she take off? And come see the midget man. It was a way to draw kids to go and see the midget wrestlers, and it was a way to draw men to come and see the women wrestle. And you now have that evolution that went through to Moolah, who went through that, and then Moolah trying to add a little bit more credibility to women wrestling by having, actual legitimate, tough women, made sure they were trained, made sure that they weren't a sideshow attraction. And then it got back to, oh, hey, here's the beautiful women. Look at the beautiful women over here. And you don't need to worry about the wrestling part of it because no one wants to see a beautiful woman wrestle. And then we, went on through that whole diva whole era. Guys, sorry, I'm in pain. You went through the diva era, and then now, it's just all shifted to just unbelievable athletes that can go. and that are as exciting as the men. That there is, there's not the differential. Well, it's a women's match or it's a men's match. No, now it's just a match. Who are the competitors? Who are you putting in the match? That's an even better problem to have because, it's come a long way. And I think that, that the business has progressed in that and allowing our female talent to shine because they deserve to.